Arizona's premier live podcast. You're listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
Thank you for listening to Live the Dream Media.
Does your ordinary radio feel a little limited? If you're looking for a new way to listen, it's time for a fresh start. Introducing the Live the Dream Media app, your premier destination and a new level up for digital radio. Over the last 2 years, we've found new ways to ensure your digital radio experience is the best it can possibly be. From live podcasts that spark new perspectives to a 24/7 soundtrack of live music, and even our built-in merch store. We've built a platform that is convenient, high quality, and simple to navigate. But we're only just getting started. Catch all of our shows weekly and join the Live the Dream Media family today and help us change the airwaves forever. Download it for free on the App Store or Play Store today. Live the dream. The dream starts now.
Your favorite radio just got bigger, bolder, and better connected. Live the Dream Media is revolutionizing how you stay tuned in. With our explosive growth in online radio and our brand new mobile app, your entertainment goes wherever you do. Stream your favorite shows, discover new hits, and connect with audiences across the digital landscape, all at your fingertips. Advertisers don't miss out. Join our expanding digital network and reach engaged listeners across platforms. Download the Live the Dream Media app today and experience radio reimagined.
Thank you for tuning in to the Live the Dream Media Network. We've got an incredible slate of live podcasts waiting for you every week right here on our app. Get your morning started right with Wake Up, hosted by Christopher DeSimone, airing Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. The momentum continues every Monday morning at 9 with the Marana and Oro Valley Experience, hosted by David Samorano and Clint Peak, followed by Truth and Tell with Blair Lametti and Summer Smeaton at 10:30 a.m. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, join us at 9 a.m. for Southwest Flavor, and don't miss Sobriety, Spirituality, and Sales every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m., Bruce Ash brings you the inside track, and we wrap up the week every Friday at 9 a.m. with former NBA player Bob Elliott on The Bob Elliott Show. It's all happening live every week. Stay tuned, stay informed, and keep living the dream.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
Hey, it's David Samorano.
Hey guys, it's Clint Peak over here.
Hi, I'm Blair Lametti Mathias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Hey, I'm Ron Arenas.
And I'm Will Pena.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Curry.
And I'm Mike Bader.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Ash.
Hi, Ed Wilkinson here.
Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
We are Live the Dream Media. Watch and listen to all of our shows Monday through Friday, only on the Live the Dream Media Network.
Hey, you found us on your feed. Are you wondering what Live the Dream Media does? I'm going to explain it to you. Let's go. First and foremost, Live the Dream Media is a premier digital advertising and marketing agency, but that's not all we do. We have also become one of the largest live streaming podcast platforms in the region, with our own online radio station and more on the way. Here's the coolest part. Right now, I'm standing in Studio B, where we are getting ready to put together an awesome state-of-the-art studio to continue the growth of this platform. One of the coolest things about Live the Dream Media is we take pride in being flexible. We enjoy the ability to make changes on the fly. If Live the Dream Media is a company you feel interested in working with and want to enjoy the flexibility and all we have to offer with our new podcasting network and our digital advertising abilities, reach out to us at contact@ltdmedia.net. Visit our website, livethedreammedia.com, or check us out on social media.
There's always something worth listening to on the Live the Dream Media Network. Catch Truth and Tell with Blair Lametti and Summer Smeaton on Mondays. Join Ron Arenas for Southwest Flavor every Tuesday and Thursday. Get honest on sobriety, spirituality, and sales with Mike Curry on Tuesdays. And don't miss The Clint Peak Show, airing at various times throughout the week. Plus music all day long. Live the Dream Media. Download the app on the App Store or Google Play and never miss a moment.
Hi, it's termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue. Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Ed Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576. Or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about.
Does your ordinary radio feel a little limited? If you're looking for a new way to listen, it's time for a fresh start. Introducing the Live the Dream Media app, your premier destination and a new level up for digital radio. Over the last 2 years, we've found new ways to ensure your digital radio experience is the best it can possibly be. From live podcasts that spark new perspectives to a 24/7 soundtrack of live music, and even our built-in merch store, we've built a platform that is convenient, high quality, and simple to navigate. But we're only just getting started. Catch all of our shows weekly and join the Live the Dream Media family today and help us change the airwaves forever. Download it for free on the App Store or Play Store today. Live the dream. The dream starts now.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
Hey, it's David Samarano.
Hey guys, it's Clint Peak over here.
Hi, I'm Blair Lametti Mathias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Hey, I'm Ron Arenas.
And I'm Will Pena.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Curry.
And I'm Mike Bader.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Ash.
Hi, Eb Wilkinson here.
Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
We are Live the Dream Media. Watch and listen to all of our shows Monday through Friday, only on the Live the Dream Media Network.
You're listening.
to Inside Track with Bruce Ash and Ed Wilkinson on the Live the Dream Media Network.
On the way.
Hello, everyone, and a very pleasant good morning to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to a special edition of Inside Track. Bruce Ash and
Ed Wilkinson.
Coming to you live from the Live the Dream Media Studios in Marana, Arizona. In just a couple of minutes, we'll hear from our special guest for the first half of today's show, SALC executive and transportation leader in the recent RTA Next landslide vote. You hear that, Chris? Retired USAF General Ted
I'm
Maxwell.
sorry, Chris.
That was my idea, not Ebb's. In the second half of the show, anyway, so it's U.S. Air Force retired General Ted Maxwell. In the second half of today's show, we're going to do something different, something we were never able to do when the show was on broadcast radio. On Saturdays, we're going to chat with Chabad of Tucson's Rabbi Yossie Shemtov about the upcoming Jewish holiday of freedom. That's Passover, which starts next week. We hope you'll hang out with us for the entire hour. And by the way, we just received our latest viewer numbers, which continue to increase by double digits every month. Eb and I appreciate all of you who watch us live and many more also who watch us at their leisure. Eb?
Absolutely, and we're up to 10. We really appreciate you other 9 guys. Thanks for joining us on Live the Dream Media app or watching us on X, Facebook, YouTube, and any of the other platforms out there. The first half of the show is brought to you by our good friend Eric Rudin from Essential Pest Control. Call Essential to keep your home and business free from all forms of insects, vermin, and weeds today. Especially the termites.
Yeah, they're out like crazy.
And the cockroaches are out. What the hell?
It's hot outside.
And then we've also got the scorpions. I almost stepped on one of those the other day. Call them at 886-3029. Spring is here and summer's right around the corner. Call Essential Pest to protect you. And by the way, if you see a rattlesnake, don't pick it up by the tail. Just friendly advice. And they do taste like chicken.
Is it from personal experience?
No, I didn't pick it up by the tail. I shot it.
Okay, good for you. At the house or out on a hunt?
At the house.
Okay, wow. You can shoot up there?
Of course. We're in the county.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You don't have a house close by? All right.
A little bit of pineapple juice, a little bit of soy sauce, marinated for about an hour and a half. Throw it on the grill, 3 minutes aside. It is wonderful.
I'm going to let you continue that.
Is rattlesnake kosher?
I don't know. Probably not. We'll ask the rabbi.
We'll ask the rabbi.
All right. Also supporting Inside Track is my snake killer Ebb's company, Wilkinson Wealth Management. I'm a client along with my sister. And our other sponsors, Tucson Iron and Metal Surplus, as well as our family-run company, Paul Ash Commercial Real Estate, where we make great things happen every day. So we are very pleased to have Ted Maxwell join us on the show today. Hey, Ted, did you really think we'd win by this many votes in the RTA election?
Well, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I've got you for some reason through my phone at the break. Maybe I'll figure out how I can get it better than that.
Okay.
But I was really surprised. It was one of those things. There was a group of us. We had no press. We had no electeds. There was just a group of us sitting around waiting for the results to come in. And the moment they posted them on the Pima County board, it took several moments for us to have a big double take, because I really couldn't believe that we were 60% on over 60% on the plan.
Yeah,
and
61-39.
Yeah, 61-39. And what really amazed me was it was already 191,000 of the votes counted. So they obviously had done all the counting from everything that was submitted on Monday and prior and received. And we knew right away it was over. We knew we had the votes on that. And then to see the tax still in the 58 percentile about that point, it was shocking to us. There's no doubt. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, and a lot of excitement. But I really think what I call the silent majority came through on this one. I think those of us who, like we've talked about over were so close to the conversations. We heard the naysayers, we heard the advocates, we heard all that. But what we didn't listen to was the people who really just want good roads.
Right. And Ted, there was such a primal scream from two of the most diverse parts of our community. We had the left, or a group of leftists, and a group of our friends on the other side who were vehemently against this particular election, but none of them had a plan really of their own. Maybe the people on the left actually did express a plan that they wanted. They basically wanted to end all vehicular transportation and center everything downtown in a 15-minute city. They actually did have a plan that obviously nobody wanted. But is it unusual that you would have had both the right and the left in an election like this for a road project be sort of the most vocal and visible objectors to the plan?
Well, it surprised me. So the opposition from the left side, from the Democratic Socialists of America, Tucson chapter, predominantly headed by Councilmember Schubert, that doesn't surprise me. They're all about less cars, more walkable cities, more community. Even though 426 miles of Tucson's, it's not all walkable. It's not. There could be segments inside of it. But so that didn't surprise me. And the fact that they believe that the city of Tucson collects 62% of the money, even though it's residents from throughout the county paying into that sales tax, they collect it, that they should be able to spend it how they want it. And they wanted more transit. They wanted more bike, more ped efforts than they were getting, despite getting a pretty large segment of it. It surprised me on the right. The Republican Party of Pima County coming out against it surprised me, because their arguments that they used against it were, we don't trust the city of Tucson to spend the money properly. Little bit of, we don't trust government as a whole.
And
they don't. Oh yeah, no, I get their arguments, and they also didn't want free bus fares. They wanted those to go away, and they thought that by voting no, we're sending a message. But they didn't have a plan. Their plan was that the RTA board needs to go back and make a better plan. And that was truly, as we talked about, was it perfect? No. Were there things that I didn't like about the plan? Yes. But it was a compromise. When you're doing a regional approach, focusing on regionalism, there's got to be give and take on both sides. And I think you saw that from all the municipalities and the unincorporated Pima County. And it put myself and both the tribal chairs kind of in a position of, we're worried about folks throughout the region. So we had that take, and that got to what I thought was a plan that will absolutely benefit this region. And you're going to see a lot of push, starting with the RTA leadership itself, on accountability. So I think we've learned some from mistakes in RTA 1, and I think the voting populace, 31% showed up. That's almost 50,000 to 60,000 more voters than normally participate in an off-cycle election. And so that number, I think, helped.
I was wrong about that. I said 23%, and I told you I'd buy you dinner if it was higher than that. So I'll buy you dinner.
I'm looking forward to it, Ed. It'll be fun.
The big complaint that I was hearing from people that were so far against the RTA Next was, they said the first RTA didn't work at all. And yet, with them saying it didn't work at all, this one expires June 30th, they still funded more than 1,000 transportation and transit improvements across the county, to include the city, Pima County, South Tucson, Oro Valley, Marana, Sahuarita, and the state of Arizona, and the Tohono O'odham and Pascagoula tribes. How can they say it wasn't effective? Was it perfect? No, but they got a lot of stuff done.
Well, the reality is, you're right. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff done, especially for the amount of revenue that came in.
Yeah.
That was the biggest challenge explaining to people. They said, but you haven't completed these 7 projects. Now you want us we already paid for them. No, you didn't pay for them. We only collected $1.6 billion on an estimated collection of $2.1 billion. So you run the math, that's somewhere about 23% shortfall. And guess what? 7 of the 38 projects weren't completed. That's also right about 20% of the projects didn't get completed. So if you were able to explain it to them one-on-one, it was really easy that they'd understand that the promise is a twofold. One is that we're going to get this money. It was 2.1 billion. That didn't happen. And then we deliver all these projects, delivered the majority of them. And there's a ton of benefit. You can point to Valencia Road. You can point to La Cholla, La Cañada. You can point to the traffic interchanges. There's a lot of good that came out of it. Exactly. There's a ton. And until you get down to the one-on-one conversations of explaining why the rest of them weren't done, they didn't understand it. And some of them said, nah, I still am not going to be a yes because I don't trust that you'll get it done next time. Well, the nuance is this plan was based on a pessimistic view. So just on the economics predictions, 80% of the time it's going to come in with revenues above what we anticipate.
What was the biggest surprise to you with respect to how this thing looked as though it was going to crater back in the summer of 25 when the chief was relieved of his duties, lawsuit filed later, lots of found that there was disorganization and so on. I mean, you guys were really up against it and had to come up and adopt a plan to get to the city officials to get this thing on the ballot.
There was a lot of, and I have said before in an article recently that there was a lot of give and take. All the municipalities came to the table. The one thing I'll give the city of Tucson credit for, they said, listen, we don't believe there's enough focus on what our needs in the plan right now. And that's when they were getting about 42% of the total revenues when we assign it to either the roads or to the transit portions that are done in the city. Remember, 41% of transit's money goes to the city, 59 goes to the external areas. So that we had to get into that kind of nuance so we could say exactly what it was. And the city was the one that said, if you can get us above 50% with a chance of getting to 55, we're in. And that's what the negotiations came down to, was changing a project here or adding more money. We added more money to the arterial rehabilitation, the ability to fix the arterial roads right now that are in such bad shape, they need to be improved. We made those kind of moves, as well as some of the municipalities. Sarita added a TI, which let us leverage more state and federal fund. We added more TI up in Marana, and we added Rita Road TI for the city.
Hey, Ted, before you get going too far, explain what TI means.
TI is the traffic interchange, which allows all of us to get on and off the freeways and onto our arterial roads. Thanks, you, Ev. That's the transportation geek in me that will say TI, but those were all added. But it was about give and take. We added money for safety and security on the buses. That 51 million originally was not in there, but it took everybody to be at the table working through it. And it came down to the deadline. We were at the last board meeting that we could possibly vote on it to send it to the ballot and have it hit the ballot in March. And the thing people don't understand, it would have, if we hadn't done it in March, it would have been a minimum of 9 months gap before we could collect a sales tax, even if we'd approved something later.
And what would that have meant to RTA Next 2.0 if RTA Next 1.0 didn't pass? What would that have added in terms of complexity to a revised setup, having not had that tax collected for 9 months?
Well, the 9 months would have immediately crippled transit in a lot of ways. You would have seen a reduction in the frequency of the routes, and maybe even the routes themselves inside the city. But outside the city, it would have immediately hampered dial-a-ride. The funding would be immediately cut. The funding for some of the long-term routes, like the one that goes to Ajo, it's a route that makes a run back and forth to Ajo that lets people in parts of the county that don't have access otherwise get into the city to shop.
What do you mean long-term runs to Ajo? What?
Well, it's a route dedicated that goes out to Ajo, daily and brings people into town, and also returns that makes another run later in the day. There's a lot of those. 59% of the funding, people miss that. 59% of the transit funding goes to outside the city of Tucson. And a lot of those routes would be cut because of the cost and the lack of funding. The dial-a-ride, the paratransit would have been reduced. And that would have been immediate. For the roadways, it would have caused two significant problems. One, none of the new projects obviously could begin. But we also still have 7 projects we're trying to complete that need additional funding. And those wouldn't have been able to start, the 7 that aren't started. And even some of the projects that are started, the funding would need to be funneled from a different source. $125 million, so that's $10 million a month, would have immediately been out of our infrastructure funding.
So with RTA Next passed, what's the first goal as we go into this next period? Let's say for the first year of RTA Next.
So that is what's going to be coming up at the next. We have a RTA meeting on tomorrow afternoon. We'll discuss about the beginning of the path forward. Obviously, all the projects that are already on construction have plenty of funding and have an assuredness of funding to complete, so they will continue to move. There's going to be the executive director, Mike Ortega, has asked for us to have a retreat where we can talk about how all those projects that are now supposed to begin in the first period, how they will look, how that flow will happen. Obviously, there will be some priority given to the 7 projects that have not been completed out of RTA 1. I'm sure those will see it. But what you're also going to see is the money available for the expansion and the continuation of all the transit is going to be immediately available. April 1st, the new tax will start taking place. So we've got a surety from April 1st of 2026 to March 30th or 31st of 2046 to have that funding available and coming in. So it will allow the transit to continue and potentially expand. It will now immediately make available $2.5 million annually for some safety and security on the transit system. But the actual now what projects will start when, that's why Mike wants to have a retreat for us so that we can start prioritizing inside the window that we gave the voters on what ones are going to come first. And that's where it becomes a collaboration. One municipality can't necessarily take on all the projects all at once. So those 7 projects that are holdovers, I believe 5 of them are in the city of Tucson. That may be all they can do initially in that first phase, is get some of those started. But you'll see discussions on the big projects, the TIs. Those we have to decide how they're going to flow out, because they've got to make it into the State Transportation Board's 5-year plan, which right now is in its draft form, and we've still got some time to move some things around in there. And that's when you'll start seeing where it goes. The one thing that's going to be able to start fairly quickly is going to be that arterial rehabilitation. That's the beginning of fixing some of the roads. And I know the city of Tucson has prioritized their roads, and I believe the Pantano area is going to get started really early. Jim DeGrood, who's now in charge of that project, that Pantano triangle is notorious for the shape of their roads right now. And I think that's where they're going to go first. But they've already got a whole map that shows the 20 high priority arterial roads that they want to fix.
Ted, let's go back. 2 things. Number one, let's go back to Ajo. You're saying there's a run to Ajo every day or twice a day?
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know the frequency, Ed, but I do. It's the bus. It's the bus that goes there and brings people from Ajo in. There's one that goes up towards the Picture Rocks area, but it heads more towards the farthest northwest side. That probably would have been a route that you couldn't justify continuing. There are things that.
So if I wanted to go to Ajo and not drive, I can take the bus.
You could,
and it's free.
Right now, it's still free.
Okay. Next thing, let's talk about the taxes. Taxes passed. July 1st comes. I spend a bunch of money.
So let's start there, Ed.
Take for that tax money that I spent to get to the RTA.
It basically comes. You're about. Generally, my understanding of it is we're about a month out on the revenues, because the revenues all go into the state. The state figures them out, then it distributes. So we're always about that amount of time. That's why when RTA 1 stood up, we had a lot of money for debt financing. That would allow us to immediately start doing projects the first day of it. And then we knew that the revenue would be coming in over time. We don't need that now because we've got money in the bank. We have money that's there to continue the rest of the projects. We had money that's in the bank that would partially have funded the other 7 that were not started yet. And that money's still there. So we can start spending the money knowing the revenue is coming in. And it allows us to do it. I want to say it's about $400 million.
Okay, and so when these projects come in and it's time to pay, do we have to have any terms where, okay, I'm going to pay you in 90 days because I don't have the money right now, or the money?
It's all standard IGA contracts that are worked with the construction, the builders of the roads, the builders of all that. It's very precise. It's very formal. It's none of that's ever changed, and none of it changes because of this change, the transition to the new tax. And Eb, so RTA 1 will stop collecting taxes at midnight on March 31st.
March.
And then April at midnight, April 1st at 1 second past midnight. So you don't have a second in there to try to get it. Then it will start being collected under the new authorization we have. And that's why it expires in March 31st of 46, not July 1st of 46. So we've effectively shortened 3 months off the period. But that was because of a statute law that the state changed, saying new taxes can only start on April 1st. When RTA 1 passed, they were only allowed to start on July 1st.
So Ted, in the last couple of minutes we have available here this morning, what message do you want to send to those who were very vocal about their not wanting RTA Next to pass, and how to work together in the future?
It's ironic because both sides have also made the same statement since, and that is that they're demanding and they're going to be on top of accountability. Well, guess what? As Michael Ortega says, nobody wants to be more accountable than the RTA. We don't want to have questions. We don't want to, whether it was Mike Ortega or Farhad Mogimi or the previous, all those folks ensured that everything was in compliance with the law, being done properly, and the money is being put to good use. That is what creates some of the arguments, because there's rules in the RTA of what you can and can't do on these projects, and you have to comply with the voter mandates. There will be strict accountability. There's more opportunities for community input. There's more opportunity for technical input to this plan, because those committees now report direct to the board. And the board's going to get a quarterly review, which is something we didn't do in the past, a quarterly update from all those committees on the status, the projects, the ones that are coming up next, and what we can all do. What I will tell you is both sides opposed this, eventually said, we need investment in infrastructure. Neither one of them denied that fact. And so that investment is going to continue. And I think we're in a great shape. 90% of the precincts voted in favor of the plan. Over 80% of...
That's a very telling statistic. 90% of the precincts voted in favor of this project.
And 80% of the precincts voted in favor of the tax. So the spread, I've told people, and I apologize to my own town, Oro Valley, I was concerned when I was walking, when I was talking, when I was listening to people that, man, Oro Valley may not get behind this. I knew there was some, both candidates and current sitting council members that weren't being vocal about their support for it because they were concerned with what the constituency is saying. Oro Valley ended up having not only one of the highest turnouts, percentage of voters that turned out to vote, they also had the highest yes pass rate at over 67%.
And where were the precinct areas, or were they too spread out, that were opposed to RTA Next?
So some of them were in Midtown. There was some and they were spread out. Don't get me wrong; they were spread. But the irony was, for the plan, the ring around the town was strong, or the city of Tucson was strong. City of Tucson passed the plan at just over 54%, and they passed the tax also over 52%. They had the lowest tax pass rate among any of the municipalities and the lowest plan rate. But that's also what I would say had a no campaign that had an alternative. The other side did it, and again, the pass rate in the community, Sarita was above 60%. Marana was above 64%. They all came in strong.
Ted, hate to do this. Thanks for joining us today. We're running out of time. It's time for us to pay some bills. Congratulations on a well-fought, well done victory. This is going to be good. No channel flipping after we hear from the folks who help us pay the man. When we return, Chabad Rabbi Yossie Shemtov, I'll get it, joins us today to discuss the upcoming Jewish Freedom Holiday, Passover. See you back in a few minutes.
It's termite season. Bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue. Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576. Or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about.
Does your ordinary radio feel a little limited? If you're looking for a new way to listen, it's time for a fresh start. Introducing the Live the Dream Media app, your premier destination and a new level up for digital radio. Over the last 2 years, we've found new ways to ensure your digital radio experience is the best it can possibly be. From live podcasts that spark new perspectives to a 24/7 soundtrack of live music, and even our built-in merch store. We've built a platform that is convenient, high quality, and simple to navigate. But we're only just getting started. Catch all of our shows weekly and join the Live the Dream Media family today and help us change the airwaves forever. Download it for free on the App Store or Play Store today. Live the dream. The dream starts now.
Welcome back to Inside Track with Bruce Ash on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now back to our show.
Welcome back to Inside Track. This portion of the show brought to you by my great company, Wilkinson Wealth Management. We help people, we guide people to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired. We can help you. Give us a call, 777-1911. That's 777-1911. Inside Track is also brought to you by Essential Pest Control, Tucson Iron and Metal Retail, and Bruce's great company, Paul Ash Commercial Real Estate, where his team makes great things happen every day. Bruce?
As I mentioned earlier in the show, when Inside Track 1.0 aired on Saturdays, we were never able to invite a rabbi to join us because of Shabbos, not something that happens. And that changed as we moved the show to Wednesdays, and we're very pleased that my favorite rabbi here in Tucson, of all the rabbis here in Tucson,
Now you had that the longest serving.
and the longest serving too. Okay. Rabbi Yossie Shemtov joins us this morning he is with Chabad of Tucson. Welcome, Rabbi Shemtov.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
So how
for
long have
having
you
me.
been serving?
As Chabad, I arrived here in October of 1983.
Okay.
You know, I came in right with the floods.
Yes,
You remember
and then we
that,
had it
83
again in
floods?
93, 10 years later.
Yeah, that I don't remember, but the one from 83 I
So
remember.
basically, you show up, see a guy in a boat named Noah, life is good, you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so as the non-Jew
It
here,
happens to be, it was the week of the reading of Noah.
that is funny.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the Episcopalian in the crowd here, what's a Chabad? What is it? Chabad?
Chabad, okay.
Chabad.
The Gentiles, they have a tough time with the
if I have time, I'll tell you a very funny story about it, but I could do it after. It has nothing to do with this, with Chabad. Okay, so Chabad basically is an acronym. There are 10 emotions and intellect that control a person, or we have to control.
Mm-hmm.
So the intellectual part of it is 3, which is, it's an acronym of Chachma Bina Dat. It means wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's that part. Then there are 7 emotional parts, which that's kindness, strength, glory. That I know the Hebrew names, and down till kingdom. Okay, so that is all attributes that we have. So Chabad is the intellectual part. So that is that represents our philosophy, which means that we have to allow that our mind has to control, our intellect has to control our emotions. That's what we're all about. In other words, we let our emotions run, we're going nowhere.
Okay.
You understand? I mean, we're going, but we're going into but we need our intellect. And in our intellect, that's divided by 3. So that's Chabad. That's basically representing our philosophy. But what we do is everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, Rabbi, Passover starts next week.
Yeah.
Passover's always been my favorite holiday of all the Jewish holidays. I love the holiday because it celebrates the Exodus from bondage in Israel and the Exodus that came later.
Yeah.
And I've never asked you this question before. When you were a youngster growing up, what were your recollections of the Seder?
Always look forward to it. I mean, and it was, today it was very meticulous. Everything that we do is you have to understand the symbolism in the Haggadah, in the Seder night, is very deep rooted in mysticism and everything else, everything. And so in our house we followed a very, very meticulous order, and we said everything and we did everything the way it was supposed to be.
And Seder is order.
The Seder. But what's interesting about the Seder is that it's focused on the child. It is literally focused on the child. I'll give you an example. No one does this, but we do this. We say it has the 15 signs, Kadesh, Orchatz. Everybody sings it. We sanctify the day. So when we were kids, we were learning the translation of these 50 signs. So we'd say Kadesh, we would say it in Yiddish. When the father comes home from synagogue, from shul, we make right away Kiddush. In other words, why? Because the children should not fall asleep, so that they can ask the Manishtana, they could ask the 4 questions. So literally right from the beginning, it's all focused on the children. We set up the Kaira. Why do we set up the Seder plate? To stir up a curiosity in the child. You understand? To ask the questions. It's all focused on the children.
When you were a kid growing up,
yeah,
did your father run the Seder, or was
my
it your
father,
grandfather?
My father.
And did you ever get the look like I did from my dad a couple times about which son I was?
No.
Because,
you mean numerically or good or bad?
Well, the different.
There's four
things
sons.
Yeah.
There is the wise son, and there is the wicked son. Then there is the son that is that doesn't know how to ask, and then there's the Tom. The Tom is basically the simpleton. In other words, that is so. The all four. What's very nice about it is by the Seder, all four are there.
Right.
All four are there. In other words, and the Rebbe, our leader of blessed memory, he introduced the fifth son.
Oh.
And what's the fifth son? The fifth son is when we make our Seders all over the world. In Kathmandu, and all these places, Phuket, everywhere. We have everybody, there's thousands of kids there. These are the kids, we make a Seder, these are the fifth son. They wouldn't have even been by the Seder table. You understand? We invite them also into the Seder.
So I've been to Seder a few times.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. The structure, the process, the prayers, the plate, the wine, and the wine. At what age do you have your children drinking the wine?
They drink grape juice.
Yeah.
Well, no, I understand that, but at what point do you have them drink wine?
Full cups of wine?
Well, I don't know about full cups, but, sips, whatever.
And
do they start at 13?
No, they start at the 8th day. On the day of their circumcision, they get wine.
Well, okay, good point.
Yeah. That's why we're not alcoholics. Because subconsciously we remember what happened the first time we had liquor.
We do.
And that brings up a story of what happened. I had to go for a medical procedure last week. Had a colonoscopy. And true story, the anesthesiologist said, "Have you ever had any problems with anesthesia?" I said, "Yes, I was circumcised as a baby and I couldn't walk for 9 months."
So talk about generational commitment to the Passover story, because last Seder was the first year with our kids and grandkids. It was the first year where our grandkids actually read from the Haggadah.
Very nice.
And actually, they read it, they understood it, because they had studied with mom and dad before. And for me as a dad, or for me as a granddad, well, actually, for me as a dad, I was proud that my son, Michael, actually took that time, okay? And the kids knew what this was about. But I thought to myself, my father, my grandfather, who I never met, and for our successors, this is a tradition that's thousands of years old. We keep telling the story.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. It is very interesting the way you ask the question, because I see the deeper question that you're asking. In other words, what you're saying is to say there's such a beautiful time. So why is it that people have memories of the Seder? Oh, it's so hard to clean, and we're cleaning, and and it's such a burden. It's such a burden, and everything else. And I see it. And thank God we live in a generation where, with all its things, we got it. We started to get it, and we understood that through bopping the kid over the head, you ain't getting nowhere. You understand? And that's what Torah really.
Did you ever get bopped over the head?
No, but in other places I did. Yes, I was. And thinking back, I deserved it, you know.
You're right.
I mean,
me
I
too.
wasn't, you know, today I pretend I'm a rabbi, but I was a very normal kid, like they say in those days.
Right.
You know, like we used to say that it was a good thing our parents weren't rich, because if yes, we all would have been on Ritalin.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the point is, I'll give you an example. We used to send out, now we put it in our newspaper for the holiday, but we used to send out a guide. This is your Passover guide. We used to send it out to the mailing list. You know, but some people responded. One time I meet a lady, and she said, "Rabbi, thank you very much." I said, "Well, for that Passover guide." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you." She said, "No, you don't understand that because of that Passover guide, I observe Passover." And I said, "Why? What happened?" She said, "Because I thought that Passover is a holiday that is impossible to observe because it's so hard. My memories were that it was long and we had to do this and that." She said, "Suddenly I get a pamphlet, which is only a few pages, and this is my guide." And she read it. She says, "Wow, this is easy."
The short version.
It's not the short version. It's the version that, you know, just do it and be happy about it and create a positive environment. We forget, you see, what happens is in a previous generation, some of the cultures, they used to look at Passover as it's their burden. Oh, we have to get rid of leaven. We have to get rid of chametz. And you really do have to get rid of chametz. Chametz is, in fact, it's one of the commandments that are almost impossible to observe. That is, right. Because the reason it's impossible to observe is because even the smallest crumb of leaven mixes into your food on Passover, not before. Before it gets disqualified in the amount. Right. But on Passover, it's considered that it's not kosher for Passover. So how is it possible that God should give us a commandment we cannot do? No. God gives us commandments that we could do. In this case, he says, just do your best.
So there's 613 commandments.
Yeah.
How many can't be done because of the lack of the temple?
Yeah, I'll give it to you the different way. We are only obligated to about 40 commandments today. Okay. That means in the positive commandments, there are 248 positive commandments, only 40 of them are today. I would say about 20 of them are daily, but the 365 don'ts, most of them are still are around, whether temple or not. Even though not, because there are the laws of purification, right, of Mitzorah, which everybody calls leprosy and all that. Those are laws that are not now applicable. But in the positive commandments, in total, it's maybe about 40 commandments.
And are any of those specific to Passover?
Yeah, 8 of them.
Okay, and so of those 8, so what are the 8 that are specific to Passover?
Now you're testing me.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Why are they important?
They're important. No, a very, very good question. One of them is to eat matzah on the first night. Okay, we call it the food of faith.
Okay.
Okay, the food of faith on the first night is only the commandment to eat matzah. The whole Passover, we're not allowed to eat bread. That's another commandment. Okay. We're not allowed to eat bread. We're not allowed to see bread. It's not allowed to be found in your property, bread. So those are already another 3 mitzvahs. Okay. So the eating of the matzah is only the first night. You have to do it the first night. The rest, if you want to have bread, you can eat bread, so you eat matzah the whole thing. But you don't have to eat matzah.
So Rabbi brought me the shmura matzah.
Yeah.
Which to me...
Hold it up a little bit more.
Can I do that the right... Yeah. So the shmura matzah is the best matzah in the universe.
Yeah, it's handmade.
And it's awesome. And I always appreciate when I get my ration. I actually am one of those guys. I continue to eat matzah long after Passover because I enjoy the butter on it. It's my breakfast, it's my lunch, and so on. And this is a delight. And I remember when I visited Russia when the immigration to Israel was going on, and going to that place where they made the matzah there. It was the first time I'd ever had it. I thought every matzah in the world was made by Manischewitz or Streitz, right?
Yeah.
This is a gift from heaven.
I want to tell the crowd something very interesting, that Bruce is a beneficiary of our distribution of handmade matzah from the first year I was here, besides -1 year. But that wasn't my fault. He moved from one office to the other, and I couldn't find him. And guess what? He let me know about it. And since then, I never forgot.
So that's not confined in Bashes, correct?
You're interesting. You could get it at Costco also.
Oh, really?
Actually,
yeah, sure.
But it's not as good as what I get from Rabbi Shemtov. So food is part of the Passover Seder, okay? Not just matzah.
Yeah.
So does your wife, Hani, still make that unbelievable potato kugel?
Yeah.
So Rabbi's wife, Hani, she's a great cook, period. But her potato kugel is to die for. That's maybe a bad way to put it. It's like eating nectar. It's so good. And there are lots of traditional foods that are served at Passover during the Seder.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Well, the traditional foods that are served during the Seder, so there are the ones that say the matzah and the maror, the bitter herbs that we sing. So that doesn't have to be a favorite. That you do because
you do it.
Because God said we should do it. You understand? But other than that, everything, is. And what's interesting is in our house, we don't use any products that are commercially, even though.
But would you
the younger generation? No, we use. Well, we buy chicken.
Right.
So let's say your potato kugel that you like very much, there's a secret ingredient in there, and that's chicken fat instead of oil. Okay, so I just hope your cardiologist is not listening to this.
He's not. Believe me, he's not. So, talk about a Hillel sandwich.
So what happens?
What we do
what happened was the Torah says that we should eat the bitter herbs and we should eat the sacrifice, which was the roasted lamb on the fire that we brought as a sacrifice, and maror and bitter herbs. So the way we do it is we eat it separate. But Hillel, he said, no, let's put it all together. So he used to put it all together. He used to put the roasted lamb and the horseradish today, but today we don't do roasted lamb, so we're left only with the horseradish and the matzah. And when you say that this is the way Hillel did it in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, in the times of the Holy Temple, because he used to eat the Pesach, that means the sacrifice, the lamb, and the matzah and the bitter herbs together. So he made so I think he was the one to create the first sandwich. But you have to understand something. The traditional matzah, the matzah that the Jewish people left Egypt with was like that, crackers, because it lasted a long time. But for many years, the people used to make matzah was like what they call today lafas. They used to bake their bread every single day.
Okay.
You understand? So then, it could have been a folded matzah, what I mean? And in many years ago, it was like a piece of, it was very thick. It was, but the main thing is that it has to be from when the water hits the flour, it has to be totally baked within 18 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's...
So there's no chance...
Yeah, so these matzahs get baked within 3-4 minutes, that's it. Now, I want to tell you an interesting story. My grandfather, was an anti-revolutionary against the socialists, communists in Russia, and he was sent away to Siberia. But he wasn't sent away to labor. He was just sent away, that they didn't want him in between the people. So he shared an apartment with a priest. And my grandfather was very focused on the matzah. Where is he going to get this matzah for Passover? Because, the Russians weren't providing, the matzah. So he literally gathered wheat when he was there, and he put it away. And then before Passover, he would take and he would grind wheat and everything else. But when he would make a piece of dough, he couldn't leave the dough standing, because if you leave it standing, it starts to rise.
Right.
So what would happen is, while he rolled it out, and while he would put the matzah into the oven to bake, the priest would sit and roll it out for him, that it should be continued to
okay.
Ecumenical.
So it wasn't done.
Well, it was done.
Was not finished.
Yeah, the process wasn't
still
finished.
Rolling it.
When you make a piece of dough, there's several matzahs out of it. So, but not to let it go. So he told me the story. He said the priest was helping him, keeping it going. But the job for the priest was only for less than 18 minutes, because that whole dough had to be baked in the thing, you understand? And the lesson to be learned is, when people are anti-religion and everything else, they're anti every single religion. Okay? Don't let anybody feel that you could be against one religion and not against another.
Why is Seder so important?
You know why? Because it's going out of Egypt. In fact, we have to tell our children as if we are leaving Egypt today. Right. Now, we were nothing near Egypt. Are we lying to our children? No, we're not lying. You're not allowed to lie to children, and especially if this is an educational thing. The point is, we're all in Egypt. Egypt is, the word Egypt in Hebrew is Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim comes from the word Meitzer, a gate, a fence around you, to block you. Everybody, we all have to get out of our imprisonments. Mitzrayim, Passover represents breaking out from the boundaries that others set upon us. And even more so, the boundaries we unfortunately set on ourselves. We have to break out of it. That's what Passover is. That's what Pesach is. Yitzias Mitzrayim. In fact, in our services, every single day, twice a day, we remember the fact that we went out of Egypt. But it wasn't that story of, it was we're going out. We have to, if we get used to something, you're a slave to that. We have to stop being a slave. We have to stop having the slave mentality. We have to have the free. And I'll tell you something, that is basically it's a Jewish holiday. It's the Jewish people who were taken out of Egypt. But this is the universal message of Passover. The universal message of Passover is educating children and getting out of your exile. And unfortunately, today, our exile is, I'll give you an example. We are now on this podcast. You take the smartphone. Mm-hmm. The smartphone is, you're literally the highway to hell, or the highway to the best things in the world, like ChabadTucson.com. If you go there, you're in heaven. Okay? Millions of pages of good things and everything else. That's it.
So as long as we're talking about Chabad of Tucson, talk about the yeshiva, the school that's been started here in Tucson.
Which yeshiva?
Yours.
Mine, yeah. But we have our Lamplighter School.
Right.
A beautiful school. Thank you very much. Beautiful school. And, We just completed the whole building now, and we teach our kids, but we're very focused on Jewish education. We also give a very good secular education, but it's basically on the basics. You know, I once told an educator that today we have to educate our children how to read and write, because those are the only two things that YouTube can't teach you yet, and they never will be able to. Everything else you could learn on YouTube. Okay? That's it.
But the children at Lamplighter,
I have the 3 R's. You know what the 3 R's are?
I know reading and writing.
Reading, writing, and responsibility.
Huh?
That's it. Everything else you could learn on YouTube today.
It's too bad they don't teach responsibility anymore in school.
You're right about that.
And basically, Passover is it tells us that we have to be now our own. We had this slave mentality in the desert. You know, hey, over there we had 3 huts and a cot. You understand? That's where.
Right.
Why did you bring us into a desert over here? You know, I was visiting. Where did I know this? I visited prisoners. I said, "How is things going?" He said, "Rabbi, I have 3 huts and a cot." I said, "Woe to the person whose life is that they need 3 huts and a cot." And basically, that was the mentality of many of the Jewish people who left Egypt. You know, we had our food, we had our thing. That's not who we are. Humans are not that way. We have to break out of it. We have to be the best we can be. That's what Passover is. And the only way we could be the best we can be is if we educate our children that they should be the best they can be.
Why aren't Jewish holidays on the same day every year?
Because we go according to the lunar moon.
Okay.
But what's interesting is the difference. You have to understand, the Muslims also go according to the lunar, but they keep on backtracking, okay? They keep on going back, so they could have their thing on August, and suddenly a few years later, you'll see it in December, you know what I mean? But what happens is, when God told us that this month is the first of the month, which is the month of Nisan, he said, and the holiday of Passover has to be in the spring. So therefore, when we set back about 11 days every year, okay? So let's say this year, the Passover is like April 1st, I think, right?
It is.
Okay. If we let it go back 11 days, if we don't add a month next year, so then Passover would be like March 20th.
Before spring.
Before spring. So what we do is we add a month.
Okay.
So we add another month, and that makes it that Passover is still in spring. And our calendars, the lunar calendar with the solar calendar, equal out in every 19 years.
Okay.
Yeah, every 19 years.
So someday the holidays are far up and others far down.
Yeah, within a month.
Yeah.
It plays out within a month.
Yeah.
So then also, what year is it now?
We're 5,786.
Okay.
From the creation of the world. Yeah.
Rabbi, our time's up.
Okay.
It goes fast. Thanks so much for
Not a problem.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Okay.
And please say thanks to your boss.
Okay.
Who let you play hooky from school. Rabbi Shemtov teaches at Lamplighter, and so she let you leave this morning to come and visit with us. And we wish you and your family and Jews.
And I wish everybody over there that, especially, we're literally living in times that is unbelievable, and God should help our soldiers all over the world, that they should be successful in getting rid of evil, and we should be even more successful, that people should start recognizing what evil really is.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep.
Hey, Rabbi, thank you so much. This has been great. We need to have you back. Tell your boss. Insiders, we need to run. Thanks so much for joining us today. Bruce and I hope you enjoyed our action-packed show today. Many, many thanks to our guests, Ted Maxwell and Rabbi Shemtov, for visiting us this morning. All of our shows are available on Live the Dream Media's Facebook Live page, YouTube, Apple, and X.
Before we close, our friend Chris DeSimone is now an official candidate for Oro Valley Town Council. Go to his campaign website, chris4ov.com. Let Chris know you support him by donating to his campaign, whether it's $5 or $5,000. It's all to a good cause. Thanks for joining us today on Inside Track. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll tune in again next week when we have an action-packed show planned for you. Until then, this is Bruce Ash,
Eb Wilkinson,
Rabbi Shemtov,
wishing you a very good day. We'll see you again in